Ashenbrenner, and I'm currently the program director for the Power of Hope. I worked in a variety of different positions with a number of different organizations, including the YMCA, doing program work, Seattle Scores, doing fundraising and development, as well as Washington Courage and Renewal. As far as our model of collaboration goes, I'd have to say that it's relatively informal, but there's some key components that I always try to hit on when collaborating with people. One is, and I think the foremost piece, is that you can never, however enticing the collaboration may look or the opportunity may look for collaboration, you always need to keep in mind what is your mission and what is the hope and the goal for the collaboration. I think it's very easy to get stuck in wanting to accommodate or thinking, well, it's great, we might get this and this and this out of the collaboration, but in doing so, there's a huge mission drift in order to accommodate getting those opportunities, and you find yourself at the end of that collaboration, for example, trying to do science programming when, say, your mission is art. And anyway, you just ultimately don't want to sacrifice what it is that's your core competency for a collaboration. The other big piece is really looking at trying to find a scenario that is mutually advantageous for both parties. So it's great if you get some nice resources or some in-kind space or what have you, but if the other part, if you're asking so much from the other party and then not able to reciprocate, there really isn't, it's not really much of a collaboration. Again, I think the thing that makes collaboration ultimately work is when both sides feel like they're getting something from it. So for example, we have a really strong mentorship program that we do. The trick was in trying to get it up and running again this year was that we were able to do it in the past with huge grant funds, like a huge infusion of grant funds. And we weren't sure that we could get that grant again, so we went shopping, so to speak, for other organizations who may want to collaborate on trying to pull that program off. What we found was there was two organizations specifically who said, wow, we've been looking for a model for mentorship and for leadership development, and we'd love to partner with you on this. And there was a whole litany, maybe is a better word for it, of organizations who said, great idea, we have no need for it. And so there's no reason to kind of keep barking up the tree that says, well, why would we want this? And this is irrelevant for us. But for these people that it's something that they see as necessary, something that they see as relevant, brilliant. And now both sides are working towards this mutual end, and that's ultimately what's going to make the collaboration piece fruitful. I think the other two things that are really, really crucial are making positive assumptions about the people you're collaborating with. I think it's very easy to fall into a pit of, especially as you kind of get down the road or the collaboration has been going for a period of time, to start assuming not always the best about people, and always trying to keep the perspective in mind to make positive assumptions and not fall into the pitfall of assuming agendas, negative agendas. But then the other piece that I think is really, really crucial is having a really firm understanding of what each side is bringing to the table. It can be really easy, again, making negative assumptions. It can be really easy to assume that, oh, well, we're going to partner with you, and you have X number of kids that you could bring to the program, or you have a certain amount of space that you could donate in kind. When in fact, the person who may have the space may not necessarily have the oversight to be able to offer that up, or the ability to offer that up. And so that then can lead to hard feelings and frustration and feeling like not both parties are reciprocating. So if you have a really clear sense on the front end of what it is that each side is going to bring to the table, there's a really great analogy that someone told me that I'm going to steal, which is that if you know which Legos each person's bringing, you can make that much bigger of a structure, so to speak. But if one person's bringing Legos and the other person's bringing basketball, there's going to be potential for hard feelings. On the front end, if you're looking for collaboration, make sure that you have something that you believe in. Because is if the idea is that you're in that place where you're trying to recruit people to be a collaborator, on some level, you're operating as a salesperson, and you kind of need to know that going into it. And so you need to understand that if it's something that you kind of half-heartedly are sold on yourself, then you're not going to do a good job of selling it to somebody else and establishing that initial partnership or potential for collaboration. So, first of all, start with something that you know is the end-all be-all before you seek that out. I think it's one thing for one organization to run something, to offer a program, offer a service, and their constituency, it benefits them from the program. If you have the opportunity, as I said before, to bring all the Legos to the table and build something bigger, that many more people then get to participate, that many more people get to benefit from what's being offered from the collaboration. So in that respect, you're not just talking about the people that organization A serves, you're talking about the people that organization A and B serve. So I think in that respect, it's a huge benefit. And then there's kind of trickle-down effects from that as well, in that each side is getting to do something bigger with having to put less into it, so to speak. There's less